In this video, I show you how I created a macro that will list all the formulas contained in an Excel workbook. I walk through each piece of the code to explain what is happening in the logic. I am navigating to the Visual Basic editor now, and this macro will be edited in this workbook. Let us call this macro Record Formulas. This line is creating a reference to the summary sheet within the workbook. The summary sheet will be the sheet where the formulas will display. The summary sheet variable is declared as type worksheet, indicating that it can only reference objects of the worksheet type. The next line of code clears all the contents within all cells of the specified worksheet summary sheet. This will ensure that there is no overlap in data. Summary row equals 2 is a simple assignment statement that sets the value of the variable summary row to 2. This is the row where I want my formula data to start printing. I declared the variable summary row with a data type of long to ensure that it can accommodate a lot of rows if needed. I want to record the formulas and collect 3 additional attributes. These next 4 lines are responsible for populating the headers in the first row of the summary sheet with specific labels. This first header sheet name will appear in cell A1. The second header cell address appears in cell A2. This third header formula appears in cell A3, and the last header formula with apostrophe appears in A4. The line for each WS in this workbook sheets is part of a for each loop in VBA. For each is the keyword that starts a loop in VBA. WS is a variable. It represents each sheet in the workbook. This workbook refers to the workbook where the VBA code is running, and sheets is a collection of all sheets in that workbook. This next line basically instructs the loop to exclude the summary sheet. Then moves the macro to the next step. The line for each cell in WS used range is part of a for each loop and is used to iterate through each cell in the used range of a worksheet. This if statement is checking for the condition has formula, and if there is a formula, then the next section will be executed. In line with my headers, 4 attributes will print. I print the worksheet name with WS name. The cell location is printed with cell address. The formula with cell formula. And finally, the cell formula is printed out by concatenating an apostrophe with the formula. Summary row +1 will allow the loop to print to the next row when the next formula is found. End if is then used to mark the end of the innermost if statement or formula check. Next cell is part of the inner loop to signal the end of the block of code. End if is used again to mark the end of the outer if statement and checks if the current worksheet is not named summary. Next WS is part of the outer loop to signal the end of the block of code for each worksheet. The last segment of code displays a message box to show completion. Now I spend a little time scanning for errors. I noticed that I entered N sub twice by accident. I found that I left out 2 declarations as well. WS is to be declared as a worksheet and cell is to be declared as a range. Just a note that I later found that I entered WS in the declaration as WAS, but later changed it. To test the macro, I will have to add a few formulas to be printed out on the summary page. Now I am going to run the macro from the summary page. And there you have it. All the information that I requested in the Visual Basic code appeared in the fields that I have designated, and each formula that appears in the worksheet will show up in the Summary tab. If you have questions about modifying the code, please comment on the video or get a hold of me through my profile in the description. Thanks for watching.